There is war in Sudan. There is trouble in Somalia. There is problems in DRC. There is problems in the Sahel. We must take charge of our security. We must take charge of our stability. And African Union must step forward to be counted to provide that cover. And finally, the African Union must work with us to close the infrastructure gap. We will be proposing 4 assignments. The African Union was initially a liberation movement. We must repurpose it. We must re-engineer it so that it addresses the challenges of the moment. We will also be making a proposal to have a much more accountable African Union. Today, the Pan-African Parliament has no connection to the African Union executive. We are proposing that we are going to reduce the size of the Pan-African Parliament to make it much more cost-effective from 275 members to 100 members. 1 woman, 1 man from every country. And make it a full-time organization. Let it approve the budget of the African Union. Today, the budget of the African Union is approved by people who are not people's representatives. We want the people of Africa to take charge of this continent. And finally, we must bring about the Africa Court of Justice so that we can sort out our issues. We don't want any African to be dragged to courts elsewhere to sort out our issues. We need something short of a revolution to have a good organization for ourselves. I look forward, ladies and gentlemen, to the output of these meetings, and I am optimistic that your recommendations for reforming the architecture of the global financial institutions will be as radical and as ambitious as the AU's Agenda 2063. Your participation here promises viable solutions to enable our countries mobilize sufficient resources to close Africa's development financing gap and accelerate our structural transformation across the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, the 59th annual meeting of the Africa Development Bank Group is now officially opened. I thank you.
If you don't mind, please keep standing, and let's give one more big round of applause to the President. You may be seated. Now there's a challenge between President Ruto and President Adesina as to who is more passionate evangelist. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, with that strong and inspiring address, we have come to the end of the opening ceremony, and we will now transition to the Presidential Dialogue, Africa's Transformation, the African Development Bank Group, and the reform of the global financial architecture, which will then be followed thereafter by the commemoration, a short commemoration ceremony of the 60th anniversary of the African Development Bank. Thank you so much for being with us at this opening. The meeting continues, and I hand over to the team responsible for the dialogue. Thank you for having me.
Your Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellencies, Heads of State, Representatives of Heads of State, Governors of the Bank, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, kindly permit me to stand on already established protocols. Once again, Karibu. Wow, that's the first time Karibu has been met with silence, so I'm going to say that once again. Karibu. Now that's a little bit more enthusiastic. I think we're getting into it. Thank you very much, President Ruto, for those really, truly inspiring and passionate words. Very, very heartfelt. Thank you very much. Welcome to this presidential dialogue on Africa's transformation, the African Development Bank Group, and the reform of the global financial architecture, here at the annual meetings of the Board of Governors of the African Development Bank, holding at the KICC, Kenyatta International Conference Center, in the beautiful, and I must say green, capital city of Nairobi. My name is Victor Oladokun. Yes, you can clap for Nairobi and certainly for Kenya. Kenya is green and has had a long history of being so. My name is Victor Oladokun, and it really is an honor to moderate the two presidential dialogues that are ahead of us this morning. Our conversations will revolve around what must be done in a fast-changing, dynamic global environment to kickstart and transform Africa's economies, as well as ensuring that they do remain sustainable. But first, permit me to invite to the podium a global leader who has a reputation, actually two reputations. One for not believing in the word impossible, and two, for being dubbed Africa's optimist-in-chief, a very well-deserved tag. Not because he is unaware of the continent's many challenges, but because he strongly believes that under any circumstances,